All right, so chapter 6 is inverse and radical functions and relations. I don't think we are going to be talking about inverse relations. That is algebra 2 only, not intermediate. So, for instance, if you're trying to petition and take pre-cal next year instead of trig, this is one thing you should note down and make sure you learn this on the review packet or on ALEKS itself. All right, so at the end of the year, I can switch you into a class. This is one of the things that you have to know for pre-calculus. Okay, in chapter 5, right, we're going to talk about operations on functions. So operations are adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. So in chapter 5, you added, subtracted, multiplied polynomial expressions. The same operations and others can be performed on functions. So one thing I want you to note, saying f plus g of x is the same thing as saying f of x plus g of x. Amazing. No surprise. F minus g of x is literally just subtracting f of x from g of x. All right, so it's just shortened. It's a shortened way of writing it. Literally function notation. Just the way we write functions when we add and subtract whole functions. Multiplication, notice this dot is filled. You're multiplying them, and then if you have a quotient, you're literally going to be dividing them. Yes, and it's called composition of functions. We don't cover it in this class, but that's another thing you have to learn if you're trying to take pre-calculus. Compositions, you put a function inside another function. So secretly, I've had you do compositions already, but it's one thing that we cut out of this class. So, although it seems like we are going fast, honestly, I think I cut out half of chapter 6 from what the algebra 2 does. Okay. So, when I look up, I'm expecting everyone to be able to follow along. They have their pencil out and they're looking at their notes. All other homework is put away, including any readings. So, we have all other work put away. So, if f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 7x and g of x is equal to 2x squared minus x minus 1, find each function. So, the first thing I want to do is take f of x and add it to g of x, right? So, f plus g of x, this is the same thing as saying f of x plus g of x. All I'm going to be doing is writing and adding the two functions together. The only hard part about this is literally understanding that it's not distributing x, like understanding the translation, and then combine like terms. It's like what we did before. So let's write it out. F of x is 3x squared plus 7x. And then I'm going to be adding g of x, 2x squared minus x minus 1. Notice I have the addition sign in between. No foiling or distributing. No. All we want to do is combine like terms. Combine like terms. 3x squared plus 2x squared is 5x squared. 7x plus a negative 1, what?
Maybe I don't have the 2x squared, this is 2x.
Right here?
What is it?
Example 1. So we're on the notes. All right. So we combine the x squares. We look at the plane x's. If I have 7x minus 1, 7 minus 1 is 6. So plus 6x. And then there's no number on the left side, so it would just be a minus 1. That's it. That is the answer.
But we didn't. That's a small part of it.
We're not multiplying by x.
I mean,
So notice I wrote equivalent statements. It's kind of like saying, who's someone that has like a short nickname?
Kate.
His full name is Super.
John's nickname is
Dunnifer? Okay. Whatever.
What about mine?
Kate? Ah, yeah. Instead of saying Caitlin, you say Kate. So instead of saying f of x plus g of x, you say f plus g of x. My point, I'm trying to show you that those mean the same thing. These mean the same thing. What? What? Yeah, I do.
What is it?
I don't know. I sign my emails O, because then I don't have to write out Miss O'Brien. Yeah, you can call me Miss O. That's fine. I don't care. Whatever. Who would think that a name with 2 syllables is too long for people to say? Right? My first name is Holly. Why don't my sisters call me Holly? They call me Halls.
Yeah.
Like I'm-
Same thing with my name, though.
Like I'm some cough drop.
It's all
It's all about them Ricolas, though.
It's okay. When I was a kid, they so my older sister, like they have like longer necks. My boys had like a short neck. So when I was a kid, one took my shoulders and pushed down, the other took my neck and pulled up.
No.
I don't know how I'm alive. Okay, fun fact of the day. Let's
Shout out
go.
to my brother.
Oh. So, point being said, this is the same thing. Okay, we did this with our. I don't know if I closed out of it. Maybe. Oh, here we go. So showing you, right, these were the problems that we did. So the first one, we just added them together. Then I tricked it up a little bit, right? I said, ooh, let me show you what f of x and g of x. Now I add them. And then the third problem was like, wait, let me like take it to actual function notation. So you did 3 of the exact same problems. I just showed it 3 different ways. I could write it as just, let me go back up. I could write it with just the polynomials combining. That's what we did in chapter 5. Here, this makes a little more sense. Okay, so I'm telling you to add them together, right? Add the functions together. And then there's a third way. All 3 things are asking you to do the same thing, right? Add those together. That's all. But they're saying it 3 different ways. Okay, just want to make it clear the notation. I don't want you to get messed up with the notation. Okay, let's try B. Check it out. F minus g of x. So literally what we're going to be doing is taking the first function f of x, subtracting the second g of x. So these, like this section should be fine. This section you should do well on. Okay? Just got to stick with it. Yes?
I go on the board for the spacing.
I'm going through the notes because I want to make sure the screencast. But if we have homework, you could.
I already lost.
Yeah, by not having a calculator. Yes? So we look up in the notation. Technically, yeah.
If it wasn't,
Is it on parentheses in your paper?
yeah.
Okay, so it should be that way.
It doesn't work. It's probably.
You need to charge it.
Can I charge it?
Yeah, just charge it right over here. You just put it in there and then you can pick it up tomorrow. Yeah. So, f minus g of x. This is literally saying f of x minus g of x. So let's try it. So let's write out our formula. So I'm taking 3x squared plus 7x. Okay. So I'm taking 3x squared plus 7x and I'm subtracting my second function. 2x squared minus x minus 1. So this is exactly what we just got done doing. Right? We just finished this. Difference is notation. The way we write it is different. So the first thing we should do, what's the first thing we should do so we don't mess up with the signs?
Distribute the negative.
Distribute the negative. Okay. So I have 3x squared plus 7x minus 2x squared plus x plus 1. Now I can just combine like terms. By distributing the negative out, you don't forget that it's minus a negative x. Otherwise, you'd only subtract the first term. Ask me how I know. I grade your homework. This is what people do. They don't distribute the negative and they miss it on the rest of their problem. The issue is, if our next part depends on the first part, you're screwed. You just messed up in the beginning of the problem and the whole thing's wrong. Also why we show work. Okay, because if I can follow your process of what you're trying to do, I can give you as much points as possible. All right, we're going to combine like terms. 3x squared minus 2x squared is just x squared. Then I take the plus 7x plus x. That's going to be plus 8x. And then it's a plus 1.
I like this.
Yeah, okay. So we're good, right?
Is it?
Yeah, I feel good about it. No, I take,
Oh,
well,
yeah, I copied it down.
maybe a little. It's not terrible. It's not, Descartes rule of signs. It's not,
Is it easier than the date?
but like this is kind of like stuff you've done before. We just didn't like put a name to it.
Is it only this page?
It's short. It's a short lesson.
Because the rest is just, like, are we doing
We're doing practice as well.
all of these?
No, but we're doing some. I'm waiting on people to be quiet. All right, who's talking?
Oh, shit.
So, let's keep going. Now, example 2, I give you different functions, but we're still going to do roughly the same thing. All right, if it's adding f plus g, if it's f plus g of x, oh, you're adding the functions. F minus g of x, subtract the functions. F dot g, okay, so you're multiplying the functions together. F over g of x, you're dividing them. I think this is a pretty straightforward lesson. You just have to understand what the heck you're supposed to do, and then you just practice. So, f times g of x is the same thing as saying f of x times g of x. You're just multiplying them. So, this is going to be 3x squared minus 2x plus 1 multiplying by x minus 4. So, the tricky part is not necessarily the new information, this new section. It's literally foiling, combining like terms. When do you multiply? When do you add, right? That's the hard part, and that's the part we struggle with. So here, I think I've showed you this way, where I like take it and multiply, and then I take this one and multiply by each of them. I'll show you another way to do it that may be a little easier. 3x squared, 2x, 1. And then I have x, and then I have minus 4. So this is one of the ways, like one of my pre-calculus students was wanting to know if I would accept this, because they're doing trinomial by trinomial, 3 numbers by 3 numbers. Oh my gosh. So you get like 9 terms. That's really a lot.
That's crazy.
So what you can do is make a box, and as long as you multiply every term of x minus 4 by every term of the 3x squared minus 2x plus 1, you'll be good. So this is doing exactly like distributing and multiplying. That's exactly what this is showing in the box. It's just maybe a little easier so you keep track. So for instance, this box right here, I take x times 3x squared. X times 3x squared is going to be 3x to the third. Then if I take x times 2x, I get 2x squared. I get x. I get negative 12x squared minus 8x and minus 4. This is a second way of showing like the multiplication. I don't know.
That's a good way.
Isn't that too negative?
It's negative. Ooh, it is. Did I forget to write the negative? So this is going to be negative 2, and this will be positive 8. Okay, then to rewrite it, I take the, oops. Yeah, I'm not going to erase that. So I have 3x cubed, and then I look for any of the squares. Negative 2x squared, negative 12x squared, so that's negative 14x squared. Is it clear what this box did? Like it just made multiplying a little easier. It made it a little easier so we don't miss anything.
I kind of got it. Look.
Can you add the x and the 8x?
Yeah. So you combine all the like terms. So for instance, the plus 8x and the 8 and the x you combine to be 9x. The negative 12x squared and the negative 2x squared combine to make negative 12x squared. So that's a nice little organized way of doing it. And then it's harder to forget a term. Yeah. Yes. So if I take the x and go through, so that's what the lines are up above, was showing how I distributed. So multiply by x, I get 3x cubed minus 2x squared plus x, go through, multiply everything by negative 4, negative 12x squared plus 8x minus 4, and then you have to combine like terms. So that's the way we did it before. Yeah. It's just sometimes people forget one of the terms to multiply by, or, yeah. Okay, and you combine and you get the same thing. All right, guess what this one's doing?
Divided.
Yep, who would have thought? All right, so you're taking f of x and dividing by g of x.
So what is g of x does not equal 0?
It just means that that function can't equal 0, because otherwise we'd be dividing by 0. And bad things happen, you divide by 0. It's undefined. So I'm taking, so this is going to be 3x squared minus 2x plus 1 over x minus 4. All I did was fill it in. Now, can we simplify this at all?
Yeah.
Is the top function, is x minus 4 a factor of the top?
No, not so. No.
We don't know, right? So let's check. Let's actually factor 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. Remember, you multiply c by your a, so we have plus 3. What adds to negative 2? Adds to negative 2, multiplies to 3.
Wait, add to multiply 3?
Negative 2, negative 1.
Whoa.
No, wait, no.
Ooh.
Negative 3, negative 1.
Yeah,
what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what?
Wait, no, it's not. Oh.
So it's not working out, right?
Oh, wait, no, it's not.
So if I do,
There is nothing. Or maybe there is. I don't know.
there's not.
Alright.
So this means this doesn't touch the x-axis. So this is actually, I can't factor this top one at all. I can't factor. Guess what would oh wait. Are we drawing or paying attention? Okay. So this guy, we can't factor the top. What would happen if the top had a factor of x minus 4?
We factor it.
We could cancel it out, right? We could simplify. We want to simplify. I can't simplify. So I think a D said, you know, as long as g of x doesn't equal 0. So if the bottom can't equal 0. What number would make the bottom equal to 0? When would x minus 4 equal 0?
Or
When x equals 4. Can x equal 4? No, then the bottom goes to 0. So we say this answer, but x can't equal 4. This is the full answer. We write f of x over g of x. Try to simplify it. If any factors cancel, awesome. But whenever the bottom equals 0, you have to put that as a restriction. We can't put in x equals 4.
So this is simplified to the fullest, so then you just basically write x cannot equal.
Whatever the bottom would make the bottom go to 0. Okay. So that's, like, I cut out half this lesson. That's the lesson. We're going to do some practice, and then I'll let you guys have time to work on your homework.
Alex.
Cool. Yeah.
Wait, when
We do Alex.
Look at your lesson plan. Quiz is, I think, the 4th
Lesson plan.
that I handed out to you.
2-4. What's today?
It was the 30th.
It's the 30th.
Yep.
Damn, this month is so fast.
Saturday's the 1st.
Really? I feel like it's
Tuesday is your quiz. Tuesday's your quiz. So this means that you have like 2 bonuses, time to go to the math center. Perfect, before the quiz. All right, let's keep going. This is a summary, it's more examples. Let's do number 1. Let's do number 1. It wants us to do all 4 things. Wants us to do all 4 things. I want you to try number 1 on your own. And then we're going to go through it. Try number 1 on your own. Well, you have scratch paper. Okay. Just trying to be like semi-paper conscientious. Try number 1. Number 1. Number 1. The next page. Exactly as I said multiple times. Number. Sure.
Yes. I don't know how to. Wait, if I get it wrong, do I still get a point?
No.
Ooh. Okay.
You can have birdies help you. You'll get it right. It'll be fine. Birdies. Look at little birdies. Chirp, chirp at you.
Is it Bernie?
How do you do it?
Where is it?
Okay, wait.
Alright,
So
wait.
you have
Let
to
me
be
think of
S
this.
plus GX.
Oh wait. Okay.
Whoa,
Okay.
whoa.
Oh, you
Yeah.
have to do all of them. Oh, that's easy actually. Okay. Okay. I didn't know what this. What the?
We're doing all 4 of them.
I have to show all the steps. all of them?
So what I would do is write like the f plus g of x equals.
Oh, I need to write this
Right,
all.
right, f plus g of x equals and then you can say equals answer in box.
For all of them?
Oh, well, you lied.
Okay, wait, what do you want me to write?
Chrissy and I have the best
Okay.
You lied.
Star Wars.
No, that's just not true.
Is it like me?
Caitlin.
Yeah, I should have, like, okay,
That
because it shows you
actually-
cool adding, now you can say
Okay.
equals. and
So-
then you don't have to show the right over here, that way you can just write the.
Okay.
Yeah, 12x
Um,
plus 2.
I'm sorry.
Cool. Now you do the next line. Literally it's the same thing except minus here.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be like,
My mom, you really go take the grandma died.
alright, you should be working on number 1. Number 1. You're trying number 1. Come on, try number 1. Try number 1. Come on. Try number 1. Jesse, try number 1.
I finished
Yes.
number one.
Try number 2 if you're done.
I mean, I finished the first one. I'm the nasty.
Is she doing this right before I copy it down? So if it's 98x minus. Okay, so can I like cancel those two out? And so then it just says.
I just said that.
He said that. Around 8x minus 3. So like that, right? The x can't equal.
If you're not number 1, try number 2.
Is she doing it right?
First one, you add 8x plus 4x is 12x. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. Good. Second one, 4x. Negative, yeah, 4x minus 8. Good. Solid.
What?
That's
You know how to
exactly
foil?
the question.
That's funny.
Come on. Number 1. You gotta write it down. Gotta write down. I told you a million times. Do number 1. Smooth. Okay, other people have the same question.
Yeah.
One more.
So I get the one you have to find.
That's how Diane gets better
32x
player.
squared. 40 minus. No, I just.
You don't foil this. Do you foil it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiplying, yeah, for the double.
Why?
Because it's f times g of x. It's a double over there. You see
It's
f
times
Wait,
I like it.
No.
This is like really good.
And then it's.
Yeah, I used sure to.
Here, I'll split it in half.
So Brian, can you have choose the gum? Do you have whiteout?
I'm a surprise.
Anybody have whiteout? So Ryan, any last time let's share team question mark?
Okay, what? I was not gonna lie, I wasn't listening to you.
Ani, lelachet, let's share team question mark?
Dude, I literally meant to
Do you
say.
speak Hebrew? Ani, chola.
Ken.
Lelachet, bathroom question mark?
Wait,
That's my
in
favorite
Hebrew,
song.
she
You
said.
know what's always stuck with anybody
Can
have
you give us all
whiteout?
a-
No, I tried to sleep, but I can't because
Can I make?
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me that you guys are still children with undeveloped brains.
Can I make
So
this?
Brian, you have whiteout?
Yeah. You have a surprise.
I love that because there's like.
Does no one have whiteout?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah,
Curious white on
do you whiteout?
If you can write out any.
I have it, but I drank it.
X can't
Nobody
equal
does
numbers.
Yeah.
Except for you.
No, not like that. It's not like liquid ones. Like you're
Oh,
Felix,
okay.
no, it's stuck in my
So
head.
you say comma X equal 5. Not equal.
Felix, not the liquid ones, the like sick ones.
Well,
Someone has
Like
to switch the, no, someone has to switch the sign back.
Awesome, awesome. All right, here we go. Perfect.
Wait, no, wait, can you reduce the. Oh, wait, we forgot to designate this class.
I don't have Paula, I can't do it.
Are you Jewish, Mr. Brian?
Un poco.
Mr. Brian, you're killing me.
Huh?
Un poquito.
Give us a little bit, Kaylin, come
Spanish.
on.
Spanish. All right, sweet. That was a lot of problems. You get 2 points. That was,
2 points!
That was 4 problems.
Mr. Brian.
That's a lot.
Wait, how much
Okay.
at least today so far?
Well, you weren't tardy, and but you didn't have calculator, so only 1.
So I've actually.
Poquito.
Well, you were tardy on the 27th, so.
Can I do it? I swear.
And it's, you're definitely over after classes.
I was tardy on the 27th.
No. Give me 1 moment to go over it.
That's not a word.
Are you
Okay.
sure I was late?
Yes, I wrote it down.
He's his haircut.
There were.
When have I been late to this?
Let's see.
Can I use the
I got
restroom?
here like
1, 2.
No, she
There were 4 people tardy today. All right, here we go. Is it emergency? Can you wait till Carly's back? Just go, whatever. Okay, I'll write it down. All right. So We have a whole problem. We're gonna go over.
It's a fatty problem. Did I get it all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the deal.
So
We're gonna give you a question just like this on your quiz. Oh my gosh, and on your test. And there's 2 problems on your homework that we're like, oh, do it all, and then you have to go and do it all again. That's the second problem. So here's the deal. Wait. Like, just gotta like control ourselves. What are you doing? Why? Why go touch his face? Don't touch his face.
Jordan's hands are always wet.
That was really funny, dude.
Okay. Nope, we need to focus, okay? We're focused. Felix, turn around. Okay, so we're focusing now. So, right, first one you did, the addition, F plus, you doing? Fine, okay, just don't be distracted, okay?
It's all good.
Spit it out, but don't touch anyone or talk to anyone. Okay. So, you add across. Wonderful. The second one, you're subtracting.
Wait.
The deal is 8x minus 4x is 4. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. That's what people miss. Questions on the first 2 parts?
I don't know how to ask this because I know, but why don't we put 2 with the
Why don't we do what? Because
Never mind.
we're not multiplying, we're subtracting them.
Can't throw
If
this.
you multiply the
Okay, if you
x's,
multiply
you're
and
multiplying
you
x times
divide,
x.
then you touch the x's. If you're just adding or subtracting, you don't touch that. If you
with
don't
the
add
exponents. Yeah, you
yeah,
don't change
the
exponents.
exponents on the
Stand up and throw it away. Actually,
make
why
that
don't
fun.
you keep it? That way next time you can have water and you don't have to leave class.
Do you think I'm gonna keep this all the way to
If he makes it, can we not have a final?
Yeah, this is, come on.
Mr.
Wait,
Someone,
okay.
Mr.
Okay,
Someone,
can I have
you
one more
know.
point? Can you take my tardy off?
And
No.
I'll do like a nice
It's
shot.
literally
This is
already in like this.
How about if he stands over there?
No, goodbye.
Hey,
whoa!
Just jump on his neck.
I didn't know Mr. Dumbo's other class.
Okay, let's talk.
Sorry.
please do not write my name again. You already have a full book of my name.
Is that mine?
Okay. So, I'm over, you guys need to be respectful. And I'm teaching you and going through problems, that way you understand it and you do well on your quiz and test. You're talking, after I've asked you multiple times, you docked. And what I really need to do is sit down tomorrow and email the parents of the people this week who have been tardy, not having calculator and talking. That's what I need to do. We'll see if I can get to it.
Are you sure I was
Next.
tardy?
Next, f times g of x. I don't write people as tardy unless they walk in late. So today, class started at 11:15. I took attendance at, 1:15. Took attendance at 1:15. 4 people walked in after that. So, f times g of x. Okay, f times g of x. What you're doing is you're multiplying these together. So you have to FOIL. He FOILed it out, combine like terms. Good. F over g of x. This is the place people are going to have trouble with. Are we paying attention?
Yeah.
Okay. Euro F, Euro G. People are like, oh, this is divisible by 2, right? Or by 4.
No.
No. It's like we have parentheses around the top and bottom. You have to do this subtraction before you can do the division. You have to subtract the 3 before you can divide by anything. That's it. There's nothing, I can't simplify this anymore. Now this, how do I get the restriction? How do I know x can equal negative 5/4? Because you take the bottom, set equal to 0. If you take 4x plus 5 equals 0, 4x plus 5 equals 0, subtract 5 on both sides. 4x equals negative 5. Divide by 4 on both sides, we get negative 5/4 is what x can equal. And that's your whole answer. Okay. That answers your questions? What I'm going to do is a test. Right now it's an experiment. Every single person, because we have 20 minutes left in class, every single person needs to be working. If there's one person with their head down or on their phone or not being productive, this will never happen again. And I promise you, I will never give you extra time in class again if you don't use this time wisely. Okay? So you can knock out your 5 Alex topics. You could honestly get at least half the homework done. I tried making the homework a little shorter. You can knock out the homework. I can project the board. I can project on the board. You need to be productive. If you don't want to work on math, fine. Work on other homework. But do not be distracting. You cannot be distracting. You must be productive. No sleeping.
I listen to music.
Yes, but you need to be productive.
Thank you so much. I need this.
I know. I saw you reading while I was teaching.
I have it next. That's hard.
Yep.